Hello, everybody. I'm Toby Shifsky. I'm Vice President of Kaplan Real Estate Education. And today, for our Real Expert webinar, I have none other than Keith Hawken. Keith, thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me. Super excited. What a great topic for to end 2024 with.
Yeah, I agree. Well, nothing better than getting organized for the next year, right? I mean, and that's generally what we do in the business here in December is just get ready for the next year. Well, let me go ahead and introduce, if everybody doesn't know Keith's name, you will by the end of this webinar, which we're going to go about 30, 35 minutes, I would think, Keith. And we're going to talk about the power of a CRM. Now, you have some specific stuff because obviously you've been with 20 years at Top Producer. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually almost 24 now. January will be my 24th year. So
holy smokes. And so if you guys don't all know, Top Producer is a industry leading CRM. So a customer relationship management tool. Keith, what do you say? It's a relationship management tool.
Yeah, focus on the relationship manager. I mean, that's really what it is at the most important aspect of it for sure.
So guys, if you don't know, Keith's consistently helped real estate professionals succeed by guiding them through the complexities of sales automation. I think that's a big word for us today is sales automation, and that goes along with digital marketing. So I remember, Keith, when I got in the business, 33 years ago, it was all manual, all of it. And there was no automation. And today, the tools that are available, I think I don't think people actually leverage the tools to the max. So I know we're going to jump in today and kind of show some ways that people can automate some things and really kind of extend the power of what they do through automation and through digital marketing. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's pretty, like we're in an age today where there's so much that can just be done on your behalf, right? And it's pretty incredible. And technology is powerful if used correctly.
Yeah, if used correctly. So, and Keith, if everybody doesn't know, so Keith at Top Producers coached thousands, literally thousands of agents, right, Keith? Providing all those agents with the tools, the strategies they need to grow their business. So he's the right guy. He's passionate. I've talked to Keith many times now. As you know, Kaplan's in a relationship with Top Producer. We offer it as a part of our products for Real Estate Accelerator coaching for new agents and for the buyer agency professional designation course that we do for existing agents who want to understand what their role is and how to actually capture the business in the buyer agency world that is today, the post legal action, commission lawsuits. And so we needed to have a tool that was going to allow people to compete. And so you should know that Kaplan endorses the CRM with Top Producer. And Top Producer has done a great job. They're offering 6 months free for this program for those people who are enrolling in those classes. As a matter of fact, anybody who's watching this webinar is going to be able to get 6 months free. Try it out. See if you like it. Right, Keith? But we're going to talk about CRM as a tool. We're going to talk about what you can do, what you can't do, and some of the limitations. But really, I think a lot of it is about what you said before. How are you managing your relationships with people? Mm-hmm. And that's the real power of the CRM.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's two things, managing people, but also it's the foundation of everything you do in this business. It is like your source of truth of everything you do in this business is going to be in your CRM, or it should be.
It should be. I think that's the key too. All right, so let's do this real quick, guys. We're going to jump into this, but before, I want to let Keith know kind of who's in the audience for us today. So I'm going to ask a really quick poll question. If you're on your phone, you may need to slide it over a little bit and check for the poll question, but it'll launch on your screen. And really, the first question is very straightforward, very simple. Who's in the audience today? So in other words, how long have you had your real estate license? Some of you're currently taking classes at Kaplan, but Keith, we get a lot of people that come in who are actually sitting in their education right now. Awesome. We have people who've been in here, less than 3 years. So some people have only been in real estate since COVID, since the pandemic. And this is all they know is the world we're living in right now. 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10, 10 plus years. You people that have been at, 5 to 10 or 10 plus years, I love that you're here, trying to understand what kind of some golden nuggets you can get out of your CRM. So Keith, we got to make sure that those people get some golden nuggets out of today. And then everybody's going to get some golden nuggets, I believe, today. So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. once again, everybody, these polls are anonymous, so nobody's going to see your name on the polls. Now, I see everybody saying hello in the chat. Please do. Where you're from? I see Christina in North Carolina, right? I see Nicole in Southwest Colorado. So go ahead. People will see your name on the chat, but they won't see anything tied to the poll. So love it for your honesty in the polls. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and share the results. So look at this, 55%. So just over half the people, Keith, are still sitting in their licensing courses. Good for you guys. This is a great spot to be for you, by the way, thinking about your business even before you start it. Less than 3 years, we got 14%. 3 to 5 years, nobody. They know everything. That's the tricky part. We got 4%, 5 to 10, and we got 6% for 10 plus years. All right, everybody, I'm going to go and stop sharing. And let's jump in, Keith. First and foremost, let me do this. I think you had some stuff for us to share today, because my first question is, what is a CRM? What is a customer relationship management? What is it today? Because back in the day, my CRM, when I got in the business 30 some years ago, it was an Excel spreadsheet, right? Like I kept all my people on. I thought it was so organized. I was not organized, not in the least bit. So what is the CRM and how does it specifically apply to real estate today?
Yeah, great question. So CRM, for those of you, like the actual description is customer relationship manager, right? That has been the way it's been described for many, many years, but it's so much more today. So you ask, like, what is it today? It's so much more than that, right? What a CRM really is it is a place, it is your book of business. It is the place where everything you do, the people you meet, the things that you're doing day to day, communications are all tracked. It is the place where your business is conducted. And the way I compare it to is, I compare real estate to being you're a small business owner. Any small business today cannot operate without a CRM, right? And I want to also say a CRM is not Post-it notes. It's not an Excel spreadsheet. It's not, pieces of paper, right? It's not the address book on your phone, right? That's just names and phone numbers. Where the difference between a CRM and an address book on your phone is what you actually do with those names and numbers.
Got it.
The conversations you have with those people, the reminders that it's Toby's birthday, or it's, Toby, there's an anniversary, or hey, Toby is got this life event going on. It's so much more than that. And that's really what the difference between a CRM and just a contact list is.
Got it. So the old days of, we used to, I heard a story, they said, they introduced me to a very old compatriot of theirs in their office, said, hey, this is Rolodex. And I said,
yeah.
Rolodex. What do you mean, like a nickname? He goes, yeah, nickname, because he had the largest Rolodex. If you guys don't know what a Rolodex is, some of you have never seen one, just Google it real quick, take a look at it. But a Rolodex, this is how people used to track their customers. And this was an organized thing. They sold these things. So think about this. It is the place where anybody who's important to you is in. And it's a place to manage those relationships, just like he said. Keith, why don't you take us through, and we're going to talk a little bit about
I'm gonna bring up some slides here. Let me know if it's coming through here.
Yeah, you're up, you're on, you're live. All right.
Let's kind of, so hey, I know Toby, and one of the things I love about partnering with Kaplan and Toby and I have had lots of conversations is, my objective when we do these things is that everyone here, whether you're going through your licensing right now, going through your training, or you've been in the business 10 years, that you take away something that you can go and apply in your career. And as you start thinking about your business. So my objective is that, and give you those couple of light bulbs here that you can think. But when we think about this business, there's this quote, and we've talked about it this way. Someone said this to me a long time ago, and it's kind of the foundation of how I look at what our purpose is. Because purpose matters, which is, hey, we're not in the real estate business. We're in the business of people. And real estate is the product that we help people buy and sell.
Right on.
Right.
I like that perspective, right? We're in the business, the people business.
Yeah.
And I think you don't always get that. And maybe I would just share, because I've been around real estate my whole life. My family was in some land development. I understood real estate, but when I first was in it, I was along the lines of where I liked real estate. I liked the land part of it. I liked the designing part of it. I liked homes I thought like neat architecture. And what I realized pretty quickly was that's great, but that's not necessarily the business of real estate. It really is about people. And I think that's one of the, you got, like I said, we had 55% of this crew watching this today is people sitting in licensing classes. And a lot of people get into real estate first and foremost because they like real estate. They like the idea of it. They like the idea of wealth generation, all those kind of things. But in the end, what they end up realizing, and hopefully you realize it really quick, and hopefully today, for you people that are still sitting in classes, you realize this now so that you start to prepare accordingly. But you are in the lead generation business about creating more relationships with people. Because like he says, you're in the business of people. And what you find is you're going to need a group of people that know you as a real estate expert and know that you're in the business and actively doing it in order to be successful in real estate. And that's what some of those people, if you've been in here 10 years or longer, I got a couple poll questions for you in a little bit where we can talk about what it really takes in order to survive 10 years. How many people do you need in that sphere of influence, they call that, in order to be successful? And when some of the numbers might shock some people in here, but in order to be successful, you need a lot of numbers. And we'll talk about some specifics. I'll give up some stuff I know, and I know Keith will share some too. But how are you going to manage dozens, hundreds, or thousands of names of people? How are you going to manage that well? And that's where the CRM comes in. So I got a quick question, Keith, before we jump in. I think I'd like to know, for those people who've already been in the business, and some people you already know where you're going for your brokerage. If you don't know where you're going, don't worry, you don't have to answer this. But I wanted to know, how many of you know if your brokerage already offers a CRM? So you go to the brokerage, you're like, oh yeah, you get our package, you get our technology, you get this piece. How many of you people know if your brokerage already kind of offers a CRM, or if you're going to have to get your own, or my brokerage offers a CRM, but I'm still gonna get my own. So can you guys see that poll question? Go ahead and answer that poll question real quick. All right. There we go. Polls up. People are clicking in. All right, look at that. Very good. Everybody's responding. Nice. Yes, we have an outside one available. Yes, we have one available at our brokerage. Or no, I'll have to find my own. My broker offers one, but I'm going to get my own. And we might talk a little bit about why somebody would go to get their own. And then we have a lot of people say, yeah, I'm not sure. Well, this is great. This will be great for everybody, because I think, once again, everybody's going to get a little something out of this. So, all right, I'm going to end the poll in 3, 2, 1, and share. All right, Keith. So here we go. 23% say yes. So almost a quarter of you say, yep, I got one already set. We're in good shape. Perfect. No, I'll have to find my own. Okay, good for you. There's plenty. There's a bunch of them out there. You're going to learn some stuff about top producer today. Might not be the right one for you. Might be the right one for you. My broker offers one, but I'm going to get my own. I got one person said, I'm going to get my own. We might talk about that a little bit later, why somebody would do that. And then I'm not sure. And I'm not sure it's perfectly good. What you want to be sure about, though, by the end of this webinar, is you want to be sure that you need one. And so you're going to need to secure something in order to organize this, or it's a recipe for disaster. Plain and simple. All right.
Yeah, well said. One of the opportunity for all of you is to build your business with this foundation from day one. It is really hard to go 3 years in this business and then go back and try and do it. It's really challenging. I've had in my career many, many conversations with real estate agents like, Keith, I wish I did this 3 years ago. Right. And because it's really hard. Right. And you want something to grow with you as you grow and in your career in real estate. I mean, what an awesome career to be in too.
Yeah.
This is a really fun career. And
I agree.
So like how awesome it is, but it does require, like, there is certain things that you need to do at the beginning to really set yourself up for that launch pad.
So take us into it, Keith.
Yeah.
What
here's
really
why. Let's go into the why a little bit, because I like speak from that. Here's some really important data points, and you're going to hear these stats from all over the place, right? So this is from the 2024 NAR profile of home buyers and sellers, and it's really about how did they find their real estate information, right? And what you're going to find from here is that in last year, around 40% of buyers found their agent through a friend, neighbor, or relative. They found someone through someone they knew, right? When you look at the seller side, so hey, so when you think about sellers, right, 66% of them recently used someone that either was referred to them or used agent they worked with in the past, right? They know somebody.
Right.
But the one thing that is been kind of an industry stat here for as long as I've been in this industry, it's usually between like 87 and 90% of people say they would use use their realtor again. Hey, Toby, do you know the stat of how many people actually do? Do
you know how many actually use, like they say they would?
They
right?
actually, 90%
you're
hey,
me
Toby did awesome. Yeah, Toby did great. Do you know what
yeah, nine. So you're saying almost 9 out of 10 people say, yeah, my did great. I'd use them again. Yeah. I don't know the exact number, but the fact that you set it up, I'm going to say it's probably going to shock me a little bit. So I don't know if it's 90%, let's say 60%. How many?
I mean, that would be amazing.
Okay,
that would be amazing. It's like 20%. Okay. So what happens is, when you think about people, we help people transact in real estate, buy, sell homes.
Yeah.
And they loved it. They had a great experience. Everyone says, man, I would use that person again. I would refer them, but very few do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, why?
This is where managing people becomes challenging. Okay? Because what you have to think about is in this business, and Toby highlighted it, right? There's really two things like at the very forefront that you need to be doing. You need to be meeting and adding new people to talk to, and you need to stay connected to the ones that you have. And, I was saying to Toby earlier, I attended a webinar from Tom Ferry, he's an industry coach, right? Been around for a long time. He kind of said it really, and this is for those of you that are new or those of you that have been in the business a long time. It's like, if your pipeline's full, you're focused on nurturing and communicating and adding value and participating in their life. If you don't have anyone in your pipeline, it's all about lead generation, marketing, and meeting new people.
Interesting. So just to lay that out, because I think you got nuggets in here for both people brand new in and people been in 10 years. If your pipeline is full, meaning you've got business lined up, then nurture what you already have. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have that pipeline full, you better be adding to your database. And 100%. That's cool. See, so Tom Ferry just kind of slices it down and says, listen, you're one or the other. You're one or the other. And rarely are you both at the same time.
And there's probably a moment when you're both at the same time. One of the things I always ask myself is like always akin this to like a small business owner. If you were just to launch a new business somewhere, which all of you are, you are a small business owner. Yeah. How are you going to make people aware of your services? How are you going to make people aware of what you do? Yeah.
Who you are, what you do. Yeah, right on.
Yeah, right. And
lead generation, right? Exactly. How are you? Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. So, but you have to do both these things. You can't just do one.
Got it.
So, but the challenge comes in is this. Real estate is driven by life events. People's need to transact in real estate is driven by life events. And when I say life events, what I'm talking about could be marriage, could be I got a new job, relocation, it could be family growing, all these things, events that happen to someone's life that create the need for them to transact in real estate. For example, my best friend, really good friends of mine, my friend got a job offer in Houston. I live in Canada. We live in Canada. All right. Got a job offer in Houston. He moved his whole family to Houston. That was a life event that said what? He had to sell his home.
Right on.
In Canada, right? So these life events, but where the challenge comes in is staying connected and participating in people's life when they're not needing to transact in real estate. That's where the real magic happens.
Right?
Right. So I call this the engagement gap, right? Yeah. Which is, let me use a story. Let's say let's use Toby here, right? Toby bought a home yesterday. He just closed on his home yesterday. The challenge that the industry has, and something you're going to face, is how do you stay connected to Toby over the next 5, 7, 10 years?
Yeah. You call it the engagement gap. I call it the engagement trap. Because and it's So, and I know we're laying some foundational stuff here. So here's what I think about. I think about my own experience. When I got in the business, I had to build my pipeline. I was about creating new relationships, right? And that's what happens when you start. You get in, you got a little pile of friends and family that you can call on, but you need to grow that sphere pretty quickly. And I'm going to ask a poll question in a little bit, like how many people do you think you need to have in your poll? Or how many people do you have in your sphere right now? And I'm going to ask that question in a little bit. Everybody will get to play along. But for me, when I got in the business, I went out and you know what, and I'm one of my gifts and one of my curses is I can generally make a connection with people pretty quick, pretty fast. My curse is I'm not really good at follow up, right? So I was really good at blazing in and making the connection and getting a deal. And then it was like, a year later, I'm like, God, I really should send those people a card or a note or, hey, how's everything going? I see them, I'm like, hey, everything's great when I see them, but I'm just not engaged in their life, and then 3 years goes by and I'm like, well, people aren't really going to be buying a new home yet, things that, and next thing 5 years go by and finally I'm like, you know what, I need to start connecting with some of these past customers. And I can't tell you how many of them said, oh, yeah, you know what, we had to, my mom, this and work that. It's that engagement trap. Life goes on without you. And unless you are actively inserting yourself into their lives, like they like you and you want to be friends with everybody, but really you're their professional resource until you're invisible. And it's this trap because once you get so far down the line, it's really hard to go back and say, hey, remember me from 5 years ago? So, but you got to do it. At some point, you got to bite the bullet. So those people have been here and you're in this webinar and you're 5 years in, you got to bite the bullet and start and go back and hit them all. They'll tell you if they, but those people who are sitting in class right now, you can have this all set up before you even hit the ground running. Right? Okay. So I call it the engagement.
We're talking about setup. It's about having a plan, right? It's having a plan and understanding like you can't just wing it. As Toby kind of, like that's the biggest thing, right? So I love the way you say that there's a trap. It is a trap, right? Which is the trap is, well, because I did such a great job, I'm just going to assume that if they need to do something or they know someone, they're going to recommend me.
Yeah, they're just going to call me.
They're just going to call me because
I haven't talked to them in a year, but they'll still call me. I was so good. It doesn't work that way.
And so this right here is that trap, is that difference between the 90% said, man, Toby was awesome. And only 20% of them actually use Toby again.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it was like an overinflated sense of, darn right, I was good. Of course they're going to call me. It doesn't work that way unless you actively engage in their life, which I think is.
And why this happens, so over 2 decades, I've seen this, and it's the same thing, right? It's missed opportunities to participate in their life. Okay. It's not having a systematic approach to my business, right? Not having a plan, and it's messy, decentralized business. One of my best pieces of advice that I'm going to give you today, you cannot manage your real estate business and build your business like this. This is not scalable. It's not sustainable. Okay. And
I'm laughing because this is probably, I saw this picture earlier, gang, and it's a little bit like my computer, and don't run your business like that. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about, the loss potential, like the cost here of losing a relationship, a transaction, it's big, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to get into how, why CRM and how CRM, but like I was telling you my own personal story, I'm going to keep it super short. This home I'm in, I bought 3 years ago. This is my 3rd home in my life, in my journey. Okay. Here's the scary part. 3 different real estate professionals have helped me.
You had 3 different agents.
Right. Not because they didn't do a great job. I was on that 87, 90% that said, man, that person's awesome. The problem is, and the challenge was, I got the keys and I never heard from them again. And I'm going to give you I'm going to start with, I'm just going to tell the story of agent 1. I'm going to tell the story of agent 3. Agent 1, we were young, 25 when we bought our first home.
Yeah.
Got married. What do you think happened in 5 to 7 years that we lived in that home?
Children. Yeah, everything.
Children happened. Children 1 happened.
Yeah.
Children too happened. Okay. What that meant though is, oh gosh, this place, our first home, no longer meets the needs of the family. Can't raise a family here. Had real estate professional one stayed engaged in my life, he would have known we had kids. Didn't know we had kids.
Right on.
Right there would have been a signal, be like, okay, Keith is going to be moving soon.
I think the key here, Keith, is for me was I finally understood that, and it's a little scary sometimes because what happens is when you do a residential transaction, I think it's a little different on the commercial side, but on the residential side, when you do a residential transaction with somebody, they literally invite you into their life. When they trust you and they like you, and they're not upset if you stay connected to them. If they had a great experience, if it's not a great experience during the purchasing process, you may want to lay low for a while. But if it's been a great experience, right, they've invited you in, and that's up to you to stay in. It's not up to them, it's up to you, essentially, if you want to have a professional relationship with them. And that's such a power and a tool that you don't want to lose. You've worked hard for that relationship. To maintain it is very easy, especially with a CRM. Show us how a CRM is going to keep us in contact today. Show us some of these.
Let's get into it. So I'm going to flip over, and Toby, I'm going to ask because I just want to make sure. So I'm going to give you a little bit of like what does life look like when you actually have a CRM?
Yes.
Right? How can a CRM help us with that? So
it's not the big Rolodex I talked about.
Is this showing here?
Yeah, you got it. We're up. We're live.
We're up. We're live. All right. This is what your business can be like. All right. I want you to imagine a world where you could log into a system every day.
Yep.
And that system told you who you need to follow up with. So here's my follow-ups today. I got to follow up with Kendra, Max, and Kerm.
And so this is pulling from your notes.
Yeah, just from my Rolodex. Just saying, hey, Keith, it's been a while since you talked to people. It's looking at my last time I connected with them and being like, you forgot about Max. You might want to follow up with him. All right. Don't lose touch with Max. Then it's also telling me, hey, Keith, here's people that have sent you messages. They've either sent you a text or an email or something you need to respond. Or they've done something. They might have clicked on a link, opened up one of your emails, looked at some reports. So these are like hey, these are follow-ups I need to do. Then here's all the tasks I need to do today. Hey, I got to call this person, schedule a showing. I need to follow up with Toby. Toby, I just followed up with you. I'm just going to say that I'm done, right? I can add some notes. Right?
Yep.
And move on, right? Keep track of my interactions that I had with Toby. Hey, it's Amy's birthday today. How cool is this with Top Producer? This is actually a text message that's pre-written, ready to go. So Top got it ready to go, and all I have to do, here's the text. Hey, happy birthday. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hit send. How awesome is that?
Just takes a second.
Just takes a second, right? And so part of what the power of a CRM, when actually set up correctly, is you get to the point where you can log in every day. It's going to tell you who you need to call, what you need to do, and what's next. And then you just track it.
You told me. So we talk about it because there, like I said, everybody, there are other CRMs. You got to just get one. And Top Producer, we like Top Producer. It's a good one. But the good CRMs, I think, Keith, I'm going to steal your line. Sorry, but he said it's like having a personal assistant. Right? Tell me about that. I mean, because you've just kind of gone through some. Now, obviously, you got to set it up right. You got to have your contacts in right. You got to have their birthday in. You got to have stuff in that you know about them. But once again, if you're systematic about how you put it in, this little machine continues to feed you every day, every day.
Yeah, right? It does all day long. But I said to you, right, is like those of you that have been in the business. I think there's like 10, 12% of you that have been in the business more than 5 years, right? And those of you building ask yourself this: is my CRM my personal assistant? Is it reminding me what I need to do today? Is it keeping me engaged with all my past clients so that I don't forget about anyone? And then if it's not, is it reminding me that, hey, Keith, for example, this one, I forgot about Max. Look at this. Last time I followed with Max was 2019. That's not good.
Yeah.
Producer just found that for me and be like, hey, Keith, there's a problem over here, right? A good CRM is doing work on your behalf. It's making your life easier, but it's also doing a lot of the work that I hate to say it's not the fun stuff in this business, right?
So my wife just got relicensed, Keith. I think I might
Yeah.
have mentioned this once, but my wife just got relicensed, and she says, I just want to do the fun stuff. The non-fun stuff, there's got to be another way to get it done. And today there is. There's lots of different services, but really the big part of the contact management is the CRM. Does your CRM do the stuff that's hard, the stuff that's not a lot of fun, and does it make it easy or
Yeah.
easier?
Is it making your life better or not?
Yes.
And that's really the question. And our, one of the things about Top Producer, we've been around for over 40 years. We have helped tens and tens of thousands of real estate agents build a career in real estate. We have customers today that have been with us for 25 years. It's one of the most things I'm most proud of, is just the role that we have played in helping this industry be better and helping agents reach their goals in their career. So the other thing too is when you think about where technology has gone, I want to show something just kind of neat. When we think about where technology has gone, here's Keith, here's me, Property's telling me, hey, Keith did something. I just wanted to show like a quick highlight, like what a difference between a contact list and a CRM is how nice is it that I can log in and see how much Keith's home is worth? Through
you got his home value in there.
Right. I could see how long Keith's been in his home.
Got it.
You can see how much equity Keith has. Right. I could send Keith a quick email. Let me compose an email here. Right. I'll show you guys some cool technology. Right. AI is a big thing. We have AI built in here where I can just say, hey, write an email.
So this is AI working in the background, helping you connect with your customers fast and easy.
Yeah, I don't have to think about it. Right? I can ask AI. Right? Sometimes we get caught up in what do I send these people? What am I going to write? I don't know what.
So you just said, hey, send a message about real estate in Minnesota.
That's what I just did. And AI just wrote me an email. And, so what you want to think about is your CRM doing work for you? Look at that. How long would that taken all of you to write?
Well, yeah, and then like most AIs, I imagine you can prompt that thing into a much more concise, detailed, specific, if you wanted, like farmland or hobby farm or light industrial or whatever you could drive it into.
AI is all about what you put into it is what you get out of it.
Yeah. But anyhow, you got to draft there, start it. So once again, your assistant is helping you. I love that idea. Yeah, so super cool tools.
Yeah, super cool. The other thing too, so a CRM is at a foundation. This is it. Where things start getting different is don't just follow up without a purpose. One of the things you want to think about is what value are you providing to people?
Yeah.
Part of staying in touch is, yes, you want to participate in their life. You want to be part of their journey. But also it's like, hey, if Toby just bought a home, how do I stay connected to Toby over the next, I mentioned years, right? And with something like Top Producer, and is like what we love to do is, what does Toby care about right now? Toby cares about his home value. So let me actually show you, right? So with something like Top Producer, I can provide Toby a report like this every month that shows him how much his home is worth, how much, hey, if he's thinking about renos, right? Any homeowner, like, I don't know about you, I've been in this house 3 years and it feels like every year I do one big reno.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Keith, can I set this up where this will auto send like every quarter, once a quarter?
Yeah, whatever frequency you want, you can set up. But look at this. I can actually show Toby how much his home has increased over the last 5 years.
Yeah, give me some of that.
I can show Toby how much equity he has and how much that is. I can show Toby hey, if he wanted to pay off his mortgage faster, if he put $20 more a month on his mortgage, he would save 6 years. So where I'm going with this is about providing people something of value.
Yeah, right.
And then
staying connected to their life.
Exactly. Staying connected to their life. And then these all create opportunities for you to connect. So that's kind of, at the forefront. So I hope that answered your question, Toby.
Yeah. Let's keep rolling because
Yeah.
You know, what I'm thinking about is with people sitting here, I've got people that have been in the business 10 plus years, right? And we know the CRM is a backbone of a business, but if I only have 10 names in my CRM, I'm still in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Do
not
you, do
enough.
you, do you have a guide for, well, in fact, let me do this. I'm just going to ask our participants here, if you guys would, there's no poll question, it's where you get to play along. And the poll question is really, how many contacts do you have in your sphere of influence, in your CRM currently, or in, you know, your contact list in your phone, that you're going to turn into people who you are going to be able to count on for either a referral for business or actually helping them get business. Because there's a number, and I'll share some information that I know about what kind of some of those magic numbers are. So let's go ahead. I'm going to launch the poll. Everybody should see this. How many contacts do you? Now, once again, these are anonymous. Nobody's going to track you, or, you know. But try to be honest as you can, because I do have a follow-up question to this. Not a poll question, it's just a question. And so I'd like to ask some of our people, depending on how many years they've been in the business, where they're at. So 0 to 49, 50 to 99 people, 100 to 199, 200 to 399, 400 to 999. I think about myself. Yeah, I know you're pretty active. You know, social media, you got to be kind of in your role, like LinkedIn, how many connections you got, and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. You know, sometimes I think it's, what does it say? Like you get to 500 plus, feel like you've arrived somewhere. As long as you, some people, they got it like, you know, probably 10,000, but I feel like I've curated my list somehow, like I've been somewhat selective. And so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, do you have any sort of a guide as top producers ever thought or seen or put together any statistics to say, well, these are the people that are most successful, the ones that have this many names? You guys ever done that?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, you know, obviously 10 year in the business, you know, if I was to go back and look at like my 20-year, you know, real estate customers and look at the size of their database versus someone. So I think there is, but I think one of the things that, you know, the stat that matters the most is, you know, next in 2025, between 6 and 7% of the US population will move.
Say that again. How much?
Between 6 and 7% of the US population will move in 2025.
So single digits, 6
single
or
digit.
7%.
Yeah, somewhere between like, you know, 67% of your, and so what you have to think about is that means that if you have 10 people,
yeah, hey, you don't even have one person moving, but
you don't have one person, you're the chance that you have one person moving, right? And so that's where like the numbers kind of, there's a math there. Then it's, so if you think about it, if you have 1,000 people, 6 to 7% will move, then the question is, well, how many of them are going to move?
Yeah, how many of those 60 to 70 people are you going to get, right?
That's right.
All right, so I'm going to end the poll and I'm going to share. This is super interesting. So here we go, everybody. Take a look at these results from everybody on. So we got 50% of the people say, you know, I got less than 50 people in my contact list. We got 15% say, you know, 50 to 99, 10%, 100 to 199, 5%, 200 to 400, 8%, 400 to 1,000. We have 13% of the people on here with over 1,000 plus. So here's what I can tell you. I love Keith's little kind of golden nugget for you. 6 to 7% of people in America are moving. And so in a transaction. And so what does that mean for you? If you want to sell 10 homes in a year, how many names you got to have to get those 10, right? And so I can tell you this, most successful real estate people, when I say successful, I mean that they're selling at least 12 homes a year, one a month, 12 homes a year, average commission about $6,000 a shot. They're making $70,000 on, that's when you start to be, you feel like, hey, I can make a career of this. This is a full-time job. A lot of people do it for part-time. Keith, you got to know that about 40% of the people, 40% of the people who come and get their education from Kaplan ever only plan on doing it part-time. And they only need 5 or 6 homes. But if we're looking at a full-time gig, you need anywhere from 350 to 500 contacts that you are regularly talking to and connecting with. And like Keith said, you are regularly a part of their life. That's the big part.
Yeah, the best way to explain it, you cannot just be there when they're ready to do something in real estate, you have to be there when they're not.
Yeah.
And if
The
you're
engagement
not
track.
there, if you're not there, I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound a little harsh. It means someone else is.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's that engagement gap, the engagement track, right? Yeah.
Right. Right. So, but you're right. And so I would probably, so Toby, I was thinking when you asked the question about how many contacts, probably in that 350 to 500, I feel like you have a decent sized pipeline that will feed you opportunity,
feed you.
right? Because it's not just those people, it's those people doing transactions, but it's also the people they know.
So we also work with a couple other companies who do kind of goal tracking, Keith, and I'm going to share one more thing for everybody on here. And even those people who've been in it, who are brand new into it, people who are in for 3 to, under 5 years, and then those people who have been in for 5 or more years. So we work with a company called KDNA. It's a knowledge tracker. It's a goal tracking tool. And they have tens of thousands of people across the country using the tool. And what it does is it does track the activity, like how many calls did you make in a day? And it's called really a two-way connect, where you actually are talking to somebody, either on a phone or in a text chat or an instant message, where there's two-way conversation happening about real estate. And what it tells us is how many two-way connections about real estate you need to have in order to get one closed transaction. So, because we know that when you get a closed transaction, that means that you had a successful closing, right? And we know that not all purchase agreements get to closing. So there's a couple that wash out. Most of them get to closing, but there's maybe 5% that wash out. A little bit more now with some of the insurance crisis happening around the country. But in order to get a purchase agreement, how many listings or buyer representation agreements do you have to have? And because not all of those representation agreements end in a contract in order to close. And then in order to get a buyer rep or listing agreement, how many appointments to get those do you have to have? Because not all those appointments go swimmingly. And then in order to get the appointments, how many people do you have to talk to get an appointment? And so they've worked the math all the way back. And I don't know, I'm going to just ask for it in the chat if anybody knows. Do you know what the national average is for this company, this goal tracking company? How many two-way contacts a new agent needs to make in order to get one closed transaction? Put it in the chat, everybody. If you want to fire it up in the chat, go down and write it out. Say, down here, look at this in the big group chat. I just wrote a big hello in there. Drop in how many conversations you need to have about real estate. And they call it a two-way conversation. Either you're text chatting or you're really on the phone is better, still is better, believe it or not.
I think if I was to answer, I don't know the answer, by the way, so I'm curious now. You've got nothing. If I was to guess, I'm going to go with what Erica Hall posted in the chat. I think I'd say it's 100.
Ooh, that's not a bad guess.
I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to say it's going to take 100 conversations to.
I think Leslie's closer than 100 was.
Okay.
All right, keep going. We're going 10 plus. Look at Laura. Laura, yes. Well done. Way to stick your name. She's like on Price is Right. Wow, go $11. All right, here we go. 200, 250. Leslie, look at that. Okay. I'll tell you what it is, because it changes depending on how much experience you have. What happens is you become better at making your appointments and getting the contract and getting it closed. You get better at it as you season, so to say. And really, it's not some sort of magic trick. You just get really good. Your brain, your supercomputer figures out how you have to talk to people. And the more you do it, the faster you learn. It's not like, I mean, you can take negotiation classes and you can do all this kind of stuff, but you really just have to do it a bunch in order to get it. The new agent takes 160 two-way conversations to get one closing. Now, the seasoned agent, so somebody who's been in it, say, for 30 years, that number can almost cut in half to like 80 conversations for one closing. That's still 80 conversations. So 160 if you're new, because you're going to be sort of good, but not great, right? You're going to figure it out. And as you become more and more seasoned, and maybe you do a bunch of training and you do a bunch of, your learning curve is faster, but for just about everybody, it averages about 160. So how many names do you need in your CRM, your contacts, to continuously contact 160 people to get one deal?
Yeah. A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
So,
yeah.
so I would, I know we're coming up on the end here, everybody, but here's the thing. Well, I lost my thought. I had a really good closer there, but I'll come back to it. So Keith, finish this up here. As the backbone of the business, the CRM.
Yeah, backbone of the business. So look, here's why you need it, right? And I'm just gonna, there's a lot of good stuff here today, but one, you need to have an organized approach to your business. You can't just wing it. Okay. The purpose here is about relationships, right? It's about staying engaged, making sure, hey, some of you, I saw there's like a bunch of people have 1,000, imagine having 1,000 contacts and having to stay connected with those 1,000. That's hard to do without help, right? That's what it starts there. It's all about making your life easier. I showed you a perfect example of just imagine being able to just log in and here's what I need to do today. Here's what and be able to do that in minutes, not hours.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But the end goal here is it's all about generating opportunities. Doing all of this is not about just doing it. It has a purpose behind it, which is to create opportunities for you to help someone help someone realize their dream of real estate.
Yeah, right on.
It's a little bit creating opportunities for you. So yeah, just to wrap that up, Toby, you want me to go just the end here?
Yeah.
Okay. So look, I think I will say this. Here's what all you do. A lot of you are just getting built, but even if you've been in the business 10 years, you may not have done this. The most important thing you can do right now is go and start building a database.
Yeah.
You haven't yet. And what I mean by that is getting everyone that you know into a single place, right? And then details about them. I want you to start thinking about, hey, how are you going to stay in touch with those people? And then just start, one of the best things is don't overthink this. Sometimes we can overthink a lot in this business. Someone said to me, I used to tell, when I used to travel around the country, I used to say to people, just say hi. You'd be amazed that if you just picked up the phone and said hi, what could happen in this business, right? So keep it simple is where I'm going with this. And then just review and adjust, right? You're not going to, Toby said it best. It's never going to be perfect.
No.
You're always going to have to adjust. You're going to get better at it as well over time. But the most important thing is set yourself up for success in this business, whether you're part-time, full-time. The CRM is a foundational piece of what's required, and it will pay off tenfold in the years to come if you do it early on. And what I'm most excited about is, as part of this journey, and I'll just say it here, all of you can get access to our platform for free for 6 months. So like Kaplan, top producer, we partnered in this program. This is all about your success at the end of the day. That's all that Toby and I want. Is to see more people come in this business and crush it. I think I saw in the chat, I caught someone's comment. I didn't catch who it was, but someone said they've been in 6 months and done 4 deals. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Kudos to you. That was amazing. That is so awesome. And I would love to see that happen more often. Here's the greatest thing. It can happen.
Yeah. Agreed. And you know what? I think of that person who's done the 4 deals in the first 6 months. You've done half of what you need to do. Meaning not that you need to do 8 deals. The half is you made initial connections with people you probably already knew and you closed 4 transactions. The other half is you got to nurture that relationship now. Don't lose. This is it's one of the things I thought about, Keith. I'm just going to start to wrap up here. But I think about my friends who went into insurance sales, which is, when's the last time you changed your insurance agent? I mean, although some people are questioning it now because you get the new insurance costs for your house and all that kind of stuff. But insurance is like an annuity almost, that business, where they make a little bit every year for the next 30 years off of that relationship.
Yes.
Real estate is different. You have to keep nurturing the relationship, like you said, to be there in that gap. Don't fall for the trap. Mm-hmm. Be in their life and be there and be connected, right, all the time in order to make that.
I'm going to give you a success story. Agent number 3, and this is my wrap up. Agent number 3, participates in my life, calls us, comes by, dropped by my house last month, brought us leaf bags. Gonna share the story. Guess what happened 3 weeks ago? My sister-in-law called us up and said, "Hey, I need a realtor." Who did we recommend?
Leaf bag guy.
Leaf bag guy, right? And it's the smallest thing like that is that they are a part of my life now, that real estate professional.
That's awesome.
They check in, they're participating. They just got a referral for a $1.7 million listing.
Yeah, that's it. Stay connected. Everybody, get yourself a great CRM. Top Producer is one of them. There, we just dropped the free link into the chat. You can grab that, go to it, get 6 months free through the Kaplan and Top Producer relationship. Top Producer is included in a couple of our big products, our Real Estate Accelerator coaching. It's included in the 6-month free trial is included in that. It's included in our BAP designation. Keith, I want to thank you. Thank you for the relationship. Thank you for being here today. I always appreciate your insight and appreciate your products. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody. We will see you again on Real Expert. Thank you.